What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? This is your boy Gerald Jackson from the North Carolina B, aka the baddest blogger. Y'all get up in here. Come on in here. I'm not on camera today because I was like, let me go live and do this. Hold on, y'all. I was like, let me go live so I could do this video. Y'all get up in here. Listen, I have been telling y'all, and I have been telling y'all that Cassandra Ventura, Cassie is not a victim. I told y'all she is a predator. She is an abuser. She is an exploiter. Okay. And I was supposed to cover this the other day, but I was like, let me come on. What's up, everybody? I was like, let me come on and let me just cover this. So y'all get on up in here because we got to figure out why Tisa tell all them damn lies and Nancy Culture vulturing ass Grace ain't came out with them pigeon eyes to report on this. All the Diddy haters, why y'all ain't reporting on this? That Cassie was an abuser, the one that y'all wanted to be a victim, the one that y'all wanted to be, oh, she was trafficked. No, she was trafficking people. She was exploiting people. That's why she never called the police when Sean Diddy Combs went upside her head. That's why she stayed. That's why she would hit him. That's why she was abusive, because she tried to keep this covered up. So listen, so now a lawsuit has been filed in the case. Okay. Well, a new lawsuit has been filed and Diddy is involved with it. Okay. Now, as you can see, that guy right there in the middle, okay, his name is Clayton Howard. Now, make sure y'all thumbs up the video. Everybody, thank y'all so much for coming on. Okay. Let me know where you're watching from. Make sure you thumbs up the video, like. Okay. Now, check this out, Kathy. Okay. Now, Kathy, this man in the middle right here, his name is Clayton Howard. Okay. His name is also, well, he's also known as Dave. Okay. Now, he is a former male escort for Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura. Okay. Now, let me tell y'all something. Listen, let me just say this. Okay. If your name is Cassie Ventura, it is a bad day for you. It has been a bad couple of days for you, because guess what? You see how you try to do dirty and God gonna make you spend them 30 million. See, you should have got that 20 million and you should have got in that elevator door and we should have never seen you again. Okay. You should have got that 10 million on top of that 20 that Diddy gave you, and you should have took your ass off to another island in another world, and we should have never heard from you. Now you got to spend that shit. Okay. You got to spend that money. Now, who you gonna sue next to try to recuperate this money that you finna spend on this lawsuit? Okay. Okay. All right. So listen. So apparently the man in the middle right there. Okay. Now his name is Clay Howard. He made a video. We're gonna play the video in a little bit. But he's an ugly escort, okay? He's an ugly escort. He looked like T.S. Madison without a wig on and before T.S. Madison started eating up all them hog maws and them pig feet and them ribs and collard greens and blew up to look like a little blow-up doll, okay? But this is him, okay? And he said, it don't matter how I looked, I was good in the bedroom. He said he put that thing down and got Cassie pregnant, and she went to the chop shop. Okay. Now that's what he said. All right. So apparently, now he filed a lawsuit against Diddy. Now, y'all already know these lawsuits gonna be coming out to Diddy because these hoes want some money, just like Cassie Ventura wanted some money. She didn't even want to go to the police. She didn't want no real justice. She ran to a civil attorney, okay, and she got what she wanted, okay. But Clayton Howard, also known as Dave, he said that Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie and their companies, okay, facilitated these sex trafficking, drugging, abuse, and depraved sexual acts that he said spanned nearly a decade from 2009 to 2019. Okay. Y'all know how T.S. Madison was looking back in the day, just like that. Just like that. Timothy. Okay. Why y'all ain't called Timothy Maurice Hinton to the freak offs? Y'all didn't see BigDB.com Back in the day, y'all didn't see how Timothy, y'all didn't see how Timothy with them bulldog legs crawling across them beds. Mm-hmm. They didn't want that flick. All right. Okay, so listen. So let me say, so in his lawsuit, he says Cassie wasn't a victim, okay? He said that she was a willing participant and he called her a sexual predator, okay? He said that Diddy and Cassie allegedly ran a twisted sex ring, recruited him, drugged him with MDMA and GHB, and forced him to perform, okay? He said Diddy would watch while Cassie had sex with him. He said it was hours long masturbation, okay? They couldn't get there. They couldn't get there. It was like riding a bicycle, pedaling on a bicycle, okay? He said that there were sexual acts that were filmed without his consent. And he said multiple of these freak offs were drug induced sexathons, baby, okay? And he said they ran across New York City, Miami, and LA. And this is not sex trafficking, y'all, okay? These are just the legal terms that you got to use nowadays to get your check, okay? Now, he said that he was trafficked across straight lines. I mean, not straight lines, okay? We know he wasn't trafficked across no straight. He said that he was sex trafficked across state lines. He said that he was trapped in that nasty ass studio apartment that Armand Snorter Little Powder Wiggins was trapped in with the kitchen, the stove, the shower, everything in the living room. But he said he was trapped in these hotel suites with no clothes and no phone access. Okay. He claimed that Cassie raped him during her menstrual cycle. Okay. Said that she did it out of spite. And then she later gave him that chlamydia, gave him that clap. Okay. Now he also said that Cassie allegedly killed a child that he gave her. He said that he impregnated, look at me over here talking like Tisa tell them lies, stuttering and shit. He said that he got Cassie knocked up. He said he got Cassie knocked up and she aborted his child without telling him. And then she didn't just want Combs. She wanted him. She wanted him. She wanted him with no glove on. She wanted him with no rental wrap on. She wanted him unprotected. He said that she kept on demanding unprotected sex. He also said that Diddy allegedly once threatened to pistol whip him. Okay. He said that Diddy once pistol whipped him. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to say, okay, that nobody will ever try to pistol whip Tisa Tales, but she lying when she say that they trying to kill her outside of the federal courthouse. She's lying when she say she had to get in a getaway car and run down the street while on Nancy, Culture, Vulture, and Grace lying, telling all them lies. And we ain't seen Nancy white ass nowhere the whole trial. Okay? She reported live out of that out-of-house smelling ass studio. Okay? And we ain't seen you nowhere. Okay? Now he said he says that that Diddy's companies, including Bad Boy Records and Epic Records, help facilitate this abuse. Now the people was like, well, why you speaking out now, girl? Girl, why you speaking out of T.S. Madison's basement now? Why you got your megaphone talking from the basement now? He said that he was cooperating with the feds on this Diddy sex trafficking case, but he said that the feds and Cassie's lawyers put a muzzle on him so he couldn't bite. And the reason why they silenced him, now this is what he said in his lawsuit. He said that they silenced me because they didn't want him to get up on that stand and say that Cassie abused people, that Cassie manipulated people, that Cassie also sex trafficked people. Remember when I was saying, y'all, how they gonna say that Diddy ran a criminal enterprise with his inner circle, and he's the only defendant in the case. When you think Cassie Ventura would be a co-defendant, when you think that Christina Quorum would be a co-defendant, when you think that D-Rock would be when you think that all of these people that the prosecution is sitting up here in a courthouse telling a juror that these individuals help Combs further this criminal enterprise, why aren't they on trial? I told y'all Cassie wasn't a victim. I told y'all she was a willing participant. She went to go get the baby. She went to go get it. She wanted it. She wanted them UTIs that antibiotics could no longer help. She wanted to give this boy chlamydia. Now she's running with Diddy's money. Will the feds indict Cassandra Ventura for her alleged crimes? When she's gonna get her day in court? See, the feds, Tisa tell all them lies, and Cassie's lawyers is who silenced this man right here, and he has to speak through a lawsuit. Tisa Tells wouldn't dare come out that courtroom and say, oh my gosh, if your name is Cassandra Ventura, it's a bad day. She would come out that courtroom and say, y'all, they in there attacking Cassie. They don't believe in women. Now they're trying to say she did this, and you know she didn't do it. It's just Diddy's and his supporters trying to make her look like a monster, and she's not. Girl, shut up with all them damn lies. Hush with all them damn lies. You know damn well that Cassie Ventura is a suspect. You know that she did the same thing that the feds are accusing Sean Diddy Combs of doing. And the reason why they did not charge her is because they know this ain't nothing but a freak go, and a freako ain't no Rico. They just wanted to try their shot with Sean Diddy Combs because y'all hoes needed some money, broke, busted, and disgusted, and y'all thought y'all was gonna get some of his fortune that he worked hard for. Y'all thought y'all was gonna get some of that fortune that he legitimately made a living off of. Y'all really thought that y'all was gonna get his legit money. Y'all really thought that y'all all was gonna eat good off Sean Diddy Combs, and his kids have nothing, and that his nieces, nephews, and his family y'all really thought. But guess what? It did not work, because no weapon formed against me share. See, you never win when you play dirty. Y'all thought y'all were gonna eat. Tisa Tell thought you finna get good old allowance. Girl, you weren't finna get none of Diddy's money. No, you weren't gonna get it. It did not work. All your lies, it did not work. The lies that you tried to put out to the jury, you called me and the jury ignorant, but girl, it did not work. It did not work, Tisa Tells. And I'm just saying, it did not work. So at the end of the day, it did not work. Okay. So this man says that he's speaking out now because they silenced him, because they did not. And when I say they, the government and Cassie's lawyers did not want him to get on that stand and also talk about what Cassie did, because it would not make her a victim any longer. Okay, it would make her look like an abuser. And like I told y'all before, if I was on that jury, I would have voted not guilty on all of them. You know why? Because there's no way that you can read those text messages. There's no way that you can go through all of this evidence and look at the transcripts and think that Sean Diddy Combs should be a defendant by himself. I would have said nope. If they want us to find him guilty, they're going to have to charge every other individual that was a willing participant, and then I'll consider that then. But the fact that y'all just charged him, and you can see in the evidence that it's other people that participate in this with him, and they're not on trial, no, I'm finding him not guilty on all of it. Redo it. If you want to do it right, redo it. If you want to charge him, you got to. If I was the juror, that would have been me. That would have been me. No, if you want to charge him and you want me to find him guilty, then bring all the other ones that's in this evidence, like Cassie, like Jane, like Christina Corum, all these people, they should be co-defendants if you want me to find him guilty. But you want me to find him guilty and let them get away. Huh? As a juror? No way. No way. So this man couldn't even speak his piece because the government wanted Diddy. They did not want the jury to hear the real truth. That's what Mr. Adnafilo talked about, the false trial. Okay. So now he's suing under adult survival laws that give him a chance to seek justice. Okay. Now, he's suing under the federal and state sex trafficking laws, sexual assault and rape statutes in California, Florida, and New York, obstruction of justice, and he's he's seeking injunctive and monetary damages. And this case right here is definitely painting Cassie Ventura a different person, and it's painting her to be a person that I've already told y'all. Well, I don't know why when I tell y'all something, it always come out to be the truth. I guess because it's my experience. But at the end of the day, let's go to this lawsuit because we want to know why Nancy Grace and Tisa Tales ain't reporting on this right here. I thought y'all was for victims. Huh? Are y'all for victims or y'all just hate rich black men? Okay. Nancy don't ever go hard in on no white people like she do these black folk, child. Okay. So let's get right into it. Let's read these. Can y'all see this right here? All right. Now, this lawsuit was filed, okay, on June 30th, 2025, okay? Now, let's get into it because, baby, this right here, Cassie is not a victim. She is definitely a suspect, okay? Let's go back up here. Oh, snap. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to show y'all all my stuff. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right, so it talks about, okay, can y'all see this? Okay. It says, Mr. Howard, okay, Dave met Miss Ventura, quote, Jackie Star in late 2009. So she already going by a Lahore name right there, Jackie Star, okay? It says Miss 38, Miss Ventura, who identified herself as Jackie Star, invited Mr. Howard, Dave, to the London hotel located in New York City to serve as a male companion and provide her with time and company in the privacy of her hotel room for an agreed upon hourly rate. Miss Ventura attempted to conceal her identity through the use of makeup, a large red wig, wood, and dim lighting in the room, which created poor visual conditions. Miss Ventura, now this is Mr. Howard lawsuit against Cassie and Diddy, okay? Miss Ventura failed to inform Mr. Howard prior to the meeting that another party would be present. Immediately after greeting Mr. Howard, Miss Ventura offered him alcohol and a marijuana cigarette, then instructed him to be seated in the living room. Two parties spoke for approximately 30 minutes while becoming familiar and relaxed. After approximately 30 minutes, Ms. Ventura asked to see the personal identification of Mr. Howard for safety purposes so she would, quote, know who he really was. Having nothing to hide and wanting to make a woman he assumed alone comfortable, he provided Ms. Ventura, Jackie Star, with his New York NYS driver license, revealing his true identity. Ms. Ventura informed Mr. Howard of her intention by standing and requesting that he expose his genitals. What? And this is the victim? This is the one that y'all want to paint a victim? Oh, my Lord. Under the influence of the substance provided, Mr. Howard agreed to Ms. Ventura's request, and she claimed to be impressed. Ms. Ventura then informed Mr. Howard that they were not alone and that her husband, quote, husband, was upstairs, but assured him that the situation was acceptable because her husband had consented to her having a male companion visit to see where things might lead. Ms. Ventura explained that she and her husband were participants in the lifestyle and that her husband preferred to watch her be pleasured by men with larger male reproductive organs. Did it in the Tootsie Roll. Okay, Miss Ventura stated that she preferred men with darker complexions, complimenting Mr. Howard's complexion before excusing herself to retrieve her husband so that activities could begin. Miss Ventura retrieved Miss Ventura retrieved Mr. Combs, who she introduced as her husband and presented to Mr. Howard under the alias Frank. We heard a lot about Frank in the trial. Mr. Combs agreed Mr. Howard with indifference, then retrieved baby oil and astroglyde lubricant, both of which had been positioned on a platter on the center table. Mr. Combs then retreated to a darkened corner of the room where poor lighting made it difficult to observe his movements clearly. Mr. Howard was instructed to address Mr. Combs Frank directly and to speak only to Miss Ventura Jackie. Okay, the same name. Oh, Jackie, is this Tisa Tells that Jackie? Was you at the freak offs, Jackie Chan? Okay. Mr. Combs concealed his identity by wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his eyebrows and a cloth tied around his nose and mouth, which obscured his face features and made him unrecognizable. When Mr. Combs did speak, it was to inquire whether Miss Victoria was acceptable or if she needed anything. Mr. Combs also provided direction to both Mr. Howard and Miss Victoria, regulating the pace of their physical contact, as will be further explained in the subsequent paragraphs. The first encounter and the structure of the activities. The first encounter served as Plaintiff's initial education into what will be required of him by the defendants, with all subsequent encounters following an identical structure that forms the basis of the description of all encounters described hereafter within this complaint. During each encounter, Mr. Howard had no autonomy. He was required to follow orders and was expected not to disobey. Financial compensation was used as a form of dominance once Mr. Howard was committed to any activity within the encounter. Mr. Howard was instructed by Miss Ventura to remove all of his clothing upon entry into the suite and to surrender his clothing and phone to Miss Ventura. Oh, you old dirty. Why isn't she indicted? Mr. Howard's cell phone was turned off and surrendered with his clothing to Miss Ventura, which prevented him from leaving by choice without compromising his safety. Not y'all kidnapped him, Cassie. Some suites required key access to the floors and had no access to stairwells without triggering alarms, making escape difficult. Mr. Howard was instructed by Miss Ventura to apply baby oil to his new body. When Mr. Howard applied the oil to his hand and began to distribute it evenly, Miss Ventura would use her own bottle to saturate Mr. Howard's chest, abdomen, and arms with oil before stepping closer and attempting to apply it evenly herself. What? Ms. Ventura often sprayed Mr. Howard with oil during applications to make distribution over his skin easier. The defendant structured these encounters into 4 phases: 1, no touch; 2, soft foreplay; 3, fellatio; and 4, intercourse, which were directed by Mr. Combs for the purpose of controlling Miss Ventura, arousing and timing of climax. Teaser tell lies. Where you at, girl? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? They say you in the bushes. They say you in the bushes and jumping out of trees. During these phases, Mr. Howard had no input or ability to offer suggestions and was simply expected to comply. Through the use of manipulation and final coercion, Mr. Howard would remain in these phases for hours, which each individual stage lasted for over an hour. Miss Ventura controlled what? Miss Ventura controlled the start of the activity and would seek Mr. Combs' permission regarding when she could progress to the next stage. If Mr. Combs was not ready, he would refuse permission, but he often granted Miss Ventura permission to masturbate if she requested it. Once the activity began, Mr. Combs controlled its progression and pace, seeking to control Ms. Ventura's desires while pleasuring himself rather directly participating. These prolonged masturbation sessions, frequently called skin tears and scabs on Mr. Howard's penis, causing him severe pain and scarring. While Mr. Howard stood covered in baby oil, Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs would masturbate while watching him, which gave him a constant feeling of uneasiness and uncertainty. While Mr. Howard was ordered to stand nude, both defendants would pleasure themselves to the point of climax. Both defendants would be intoxicated using substances and alcohol to alter their moods and keep them awake. Some of these substances were Schedule 1 narcotics, including amphetamines and opiates. The specific drug used include ecstasy, GHB, ketamine, cocaine, Molly, and marijuana. Ms. Ventura in the earlier and middle years was extremely physical with Mr. Howard and would orally pleasure him for periods exceeding 1 hour at times. What? Dang. Tamika Sweat said that girl was forced into this lifestyle. Girls, be quiet. You don't know that. She is a whore, okay? And you do know that. Why do you come in here defending people? Are you an abuser too? Huh? I bet we could pull up your record and see that you probably have abused somebody. You probably abused some flies. Okay, you done abused that man that you probably done been with. This girl is an abuser. She is a sexual predator. This escort is not lying. It's not like he just telling on her. He telling on her and Diddy. But you cannot ignore the fact that she was a sex trafficker too, if you want to call Diddy a sex trafficker. That's why she didn't get charged, because the government knew that Diddy was not going to get convicted of being a freak as a RICO. A RICO, excuse me, a FRICO is not a RICO. Okay, if y'all stop hating, maybe you can go and hold your leg up. Okay, let me see. Cello says sidebar. It's all a money grab. They need to charge Cassie with rape because she did rape Diddy's pocket. Exactly. Okay. Boss Lingo said both is about to go through hell, especially Diddy, because it's deeper shit coming his way. What's up, Asia? I'm just over here trying to school the people, man. I'm just over here. I mean, God dang, Cassie, you was over there going to work on this man. You was sexually assaulting this man for over an hour. And you got people out here like Tisa Tell Lies talking about you a victim. You got all these people out here talking about, oh, I want them to find such and such guilty for this person and such guilty for that person. But what about this man that you abused, Cassie? Huh, Cassie? Huh? Did you tell your husband that? You have been caught in lies and lies and lies and lies. You are not a victim. Get that out of y'all head. I don't care who you coming over here supporting. Today, the story is about why Tisa Tales and Nancy Cochran ass Grace, okay, with them sinister ass looks, won't come out and report that Cassie Ventura is an abuser. Cassie Ventura should be charged with a RICO as well. And let the jury decide if she's guilty or not, just like y'all put Sean Diddy Combs on trial. Okay? So let's go back to the lawsuit. Okay. Dehydrated from drugs, lack of water, and constant engagement in oral sex. Ms. Ventura will often perform oral sex until she had to stop when her jaw became sore from prolonged activity. What? When intercourse was to occur, see, this is why Tisa Tell Lies be going so hard, because she want to be around person like Cassie that do all of this shit. She want to learn that shit, girl. How you massage that throat, that jaw like that? How you do that? How you do that, Cassie? Teach me, teach me. This is why people like Tisa Tell a bunch of lies and Nancy Grace, they ignore these facts. They ignore facts like this. They want to raise their eyebrows on facts like these, but they want to come down on the hammer and explode with mental illnesses when it's a black rich man. Okay, we can't get mad because your white husbands did not do enough to create enough wealth for y'all, and y'all think by going hard on Diddy that y'all was gonna get some of that property that y'all thought was gonna get seized, right? I'm just saying. Okay, so it says Mr. Howard was directed to engage in sexual contact with Miss Ventura until she climaxed and was only allowed to stop once Miss Ventura reached climax. Once Mr. Combs consented to sexual contact, Miss Ventura controlled the degree of intimacy, including kissing, the intensity of kissing, and whether she would engage in unprotected sex, as well as be described in later paragraphs. Once the climax of Miss Ventura occurred, the cycle would be repeated. One encounter with Miss Ventura could consist of 15 to 30 individual sessions, each including all 4 stages. The number of sessions was also dependent on the number of days Mr. Howard would be detained until the defendants were ready to return his phone and clothing and release him. See, y'all charged Diddy with kidnapping, but you let Cassie get away with kidnapping. How she was able to testify against her co-defendant. She is an unindicted co-conspirator. Okay? If y'all want to talk about these freak offs, how can y'all ignore the fact that this man is saying that Cassie was doing the same thing that the federal government has accused Diddy of doing, but she's not charged? Like, are y'all understanding this? Good morning. Good morning, my favorite, the baddest blogger news personality in the world, Gerald Jackson, checking in from West Memphis, Arkansas. I love you, my godson. I love you too. Thank you so much. Rain said he's a man, so they're gonna automatically say he's a liar. Cassie should be charged as well. Exactly. All right, y'all. Let's take a minute if you haven't already to thumbs up the video, heart the video if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, thumbs up the video. I appreciate y'all so much. Share the video. I know it's Sunday, it's early. Y'all still in the bed calling them cows because you got drunk last night, or you got wore out last night, or you been up all night like Tisa tell all them lies, trying to see who's gonna drop the next video on her, exposing her lies. She is crashing out. She is having manic episodes. She has driven by all of the CVS's and the Walgreens and all of the Walmarts and all of the private CVS companies and all of the places that give you your medication when the doctor give you a prescription. She has passed all of those places and have ran straight to YouTube. And we want to know, why hasn't she reported on this lawsuit that we are reading from this escort that said that Cassie Ventura is not a victim, that she is a sexual predator, and she did these things alone with Sean Diddy Combs, and that the government and Cassie's lawyers silenced him from testifying against Diddy after cooperating with the government's case because they did not want him to get up there and say, Cassie, you evil son, you evil. Okay. Okay, so here we go. If Mr. Howard attempted to leave, he would be coerced by Miss Ventura into waiting or ignore if he knocked on the suite's master bedroom door seeking to retrieve his items to leave. Miss Ventura manipulates Mr. Howard into MDMA use and unprotected sex. Wow. During the trial testimony of Miss Ventura, Mr. Howard heard her statements regarding Mr. Combs and how she allegedly had been forced to have unprotected sex with male entertainers. Miss Ventura claimed to have never wanted such activities and to have only engaged in them as a result of Mr. Combs' abuse and attempts to blackmail her. Now she lying, trying to blame it on Diddy. Now she trying to say, I ain't did nothing. I ain't did nothing. It was all Diddy. It was all Puff Daddy. Although this allegation was substantiated in one instance during the trial, it is not the same in all. It also does not completely substantiate all of Ms. Ventura's claims of force and coercion, as every instance is not the same. Mr. Howard confidently asserts that Mr. Combs did not force Ms. Ventura to engage in a sexual encounter after the overdose she experienced while in his presence. It was Miss Ventura. It was Miss Tisa tell lies. You gonna report that it was Miss Ventura who begged for the encounter despite Mr. Combs' repeated attempts to end the night due to the overdose. Mr. Howard confidently asserts that it was Miss Ventura who initiated unprotected sexual contact with him, and Mr. Combs had no knowledge of it occurring until it was underway. Once Mr. Combs, who was observing the sexual activity, noticed there was no condom being used, he stopped the activity and confronted Miss Ventura about her actions. See, she wanted to be a whore. It doesn't matter how you looked or who you was. She wanted that good thing. Does this sound like a willing participant to you, or it sound like a Hollywood whore? I'll say Hollywood whore. In response, Mr. Ventura lied to Mr. Combs, falsely informing him that she had reviewed Mr. Howard's STD test results and had confirmed he was completely clean. Mr. Howard, immediately conscious of the lie, interrupted and told Mr. Combs the truth, which was that what Ms. Ventura had told him was false. Mr. Howard then provided his actual STD test results to Mr. Combs directly from his email. Once unprotected sex began, Mr. Howard would be pressured into continuing it by both parties. Mr. Howard was told he would be the exclusive partner of Mr. Ventura, and it was agreed he would be compensated in exchange for clean test results and continued exceptional service. What y'all think about this? Sharon James said, nothing to do with Diddy. It was all her. You see what I'm saying? April Williams says, she just like the others white girls' tears. Tammy Whitaker says, and she always paid the escorts from her hand. I believe I heard that she's a whore. Oops. And these are women saying this. Daisha Ratcliffe says, she did say she set up surprise freak offs. I mean, I'm just saying, though. You know what I'm saying? Shell says, actually, if she did report the lawsuit, it would prove even more she is a lie bag. That escort not lying. Nope. Vita Fox says, if Mr. Howard tried to leave, she would coerce him to wait and ignore him when he tried to get his items and leave. She defended to be charged. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay. So The arrangement was agreed to after Mr. Howard was coerced into participating in an orgy with Ms. Ventura, Mr. Combs, and another male provider named Daniel Phillip. The goal of the orgy was to determine who could please Ms. Ventura the longest without issue, Mr. Howard or Mr. Phillip. The two men were offered substances and expected to perform continuously, taking turns with Ms. Ventura, who was an eager and willing participant. See, this encounter lasted for nearly 2 days before it ended. When Mr. Howard outlasted Mr. Phillip, he was declared the winner, and the exclusive arrangement was proposed. Remember, I told y'all in the video, he gonna tell y'all it wasn't about me being having the looks. I was good in the bed. Drug use was a major component of the encounters during the majority of the meetings. Mr. Howard did not engage in harder drugs for the first 2 years until they were offered to him by Miss Ventura. Wow. Seems like this is more about Miss Ventura than Diddy, huh? Mr. Howard, seeking to stay awake in response to repeated requests to satisfy Miss Ventura, began to have difficulty staying awake as more was demanded of him. Miss Ventura offered Mr. Howard ecstasy, claiming it to be light and harmless in the dosage she would provide. Mr. Howard would later learn from Miss. See, they were so tired, they was using drugs to keep him up. Mr. Howard would later learn from Miss Ventura that she had tripled his dosage in order to get him, quote, freaky, as he recalls, and increase the intensity of the encounter. Believing the two were monogamous in relationship since the essence of Mr. Phillip always receiving clean results when taking STD tests, and through the through the inducement of drugs and alcohol, the unprotected sex continued. Mr. Howard impregnated Miss Ventura, who ultimately decided to abort the pregnancy when she was unable to locate Mr. Howard for a period of time. Even after aborting a pregnancy, Miss Ventura sought to have unprotected sex during the encounters for years after. Wow. After reconnecting with when separated for almost 8 months, Ms. Ventura confessed to Mr. Howard at New York City's Gramercy Park Hotel that she had aborted a pregnancy created by Mr. Howard. Despite this revelation, Ms. Ventura insisted on unprotected sex during that very encounter, which lasted several days as the two reconnected after the separation. It was, oh, she's old, dirty, low down dog. How could you do, Pup Daddy? It was after his victory in the encounter with Daniel Phillips that Miss Ventura drugged Mr. Howard with a triple dosage of ecstasy and manipulated him into engaging in unprotected sex. What? And the federal government let her go? See, this is what I mean by I would have voted no on everything, including prostitution. Because, girl, how so you mean to tell me this man is guilty of prostituting her and she is doing this shit to other people, kidnapping them, won't letting them, won't let them leave? Like, are you serious? Tony Nicole said her ass is just as guilty, then blaming all on Diddy for money. Shaking my head, all of them agreed to it and wanted to be freaky as fuck. Nobody should be charged for being a freak. Right, April. April Ingram says they left that part out. Geraldine Foster Smith says they all were freaks. Tammy Whitaker says, me too, Gerald. Not guilty should have been a verdict for all. Listen, I'm telling you. And let me tell you something. I'm one of the people, I go hard for victims, real victims. But this right here, how can you read this? It seemed like that Cassie is the suspect, even though he sued Diddy and Cassie for this. It seems like that she is the more like she's the suspect. Like she would be the prime suspect in this lawsuit if you look at it that way. All Diddy is doing is sitting back, masturbating, not knowing that Shorty done got pregnant. I mean, aborted a baby. I mean, not knowing all of this stuff that Cassie got going on with this escort, but he the only one on trial. I respect the jury's verdict because they got it right as far as the RICO and stuff. But I felt like that they didn't take enough good notes to go and look and see how fucked up this case really is. They should have come back on not guilty on all of it. I even would have been a juror like, what? So you mean to tell me you coming up and testifying against this man and he paying your rent? Why would you want an abuser to pay your rent? You feel what I'm saying? Driggers Amanda says, so since she won't charge, can they go back and charge her? Yeah, they can go back and charge her. The Justice Department need to fire all their asses. Trump them must not know that Maria Comey is a prosecutor. Because, Justice Department got a lot of lawyers. I'm sure he probably don't know. Because she would have been fired. I don't know. Um, right. I support victims, not willing participants. Right. Latoya 81 says that Escort probably saw her ass from giving him herpes allegedly. Listen, something is going on. Make sure y'all thumbs up the video on YouTube. Thank y'all so much. Um, okay, so let's continue reading. Mr. Howard is drugged by Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura. Miss Ventura drugs Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard recalls being drugged by Miss Ventura, who admitted to doing so when asked once. Mr. Howard contacted her again after the initial incident. Specifically, Mr. Howard was given ecstasy by Miss Ventura after he complained of exhaustion due to demands placed upon him during the encounters. Instead of providing coffee or an energy drink, Miss Ventura retreated to the bedroom and returned with an ecstasy pill. Wow. When Mr. Howard complained about his disdain for pills, Miss Ventura crushed the pill and put it into a drink she prepared, informing Mr. Howard she had only included a small dosage. Oh, so now you, Cassie, is drugging drinks. Wow. 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 Having known Miss Ventura for several years at this point, Mr. Howard trusted her and consumed the drink prepared by Miss Ventura. Mr. Howard recalls feeling hot and beginning to sweat uncontrollably within several moments of consumption. When he complained of this to Miss Ventura, her response was a passionate kiss before she aggressively grabbed hold of his penis and placed it within her mouth. What? Oh. See, I see why Tisa tell lies and Nancy Grace don't want to report this. Because it's not a man forcing his penis or Cassie's head into on his penis. It's her forcing his into hers. Mr. Howard recalls never feeling so intoxicated in his life with the drug enhancing all his senses and sexual desires. He and Miss Ventura began with condoms, but they were removed by Miss Ventura. Wow. Who quickly rolled off the protection and pressure unprotected contact while Mr. Howard's inhibitions had been lowered. Mr. Howard and Miss Ventura would engage in the encounter for over 2 days while Mr. Combs watched and on occasion engaged in contact with Miss Ventura. When the parties were all exhausted, Mr. Howard was given back his belongings and allowed to leave. He was compensated with additional funds due to his condition caused by dehydration and lack of sleep. Oh my gosh. Mr. Howard left confused, dehydrated, and disoriented, ultimately pulling his vehicle over and parking on the side of a grocery store. He woke up hours later, weak and sweating. He was able to get help by calling an Uber, which brought him home to his girlfriend. He spent 3 days recovering from the encounter. After Howard confronted Ms. Ventura during the following encounter, she confessed to drugging him. Following this confession, he did not accept beverages from her except 3 times. He accepted a drink over the next 5 years. And see, this is what I'm saying. You kept going back. He a prime example too. You see how they crying in the lawsuit, right? They crying in the lawsuit. And I'm not ignoring what happened, but you crying in the lawsuit, but you keep going back. The next time he only accepted such and such drinks. What the hell are you going back for? And they already drugged you one time in a drink. What's up, tonight? They already drugged you one time in a drink. What is you going back for? You see what I'm saying? He did not accept beverage from her except 3 times. He accepted a drink over the next 5 years. The final drink led to a physical assault on Ms. Ventura. Mr. Combs drugged Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard was drugged by Mr. Combs in the Trump property at Columbus Circle in New York City. During the encounter, Mr. Combs offered Mr. Howard a pink substance in a small plastic bag he described as pink MDMA or pink Molly. Mr. Howard, who only indulged in drugs with Ms. Ventura, was introduced to both Molly and ecstasy by Ms. Ventura for purpose of enhancing their sexual encounters. Y'all, I got to get a bottle of water. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. What's up, tonight? Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hold on, y'all. Let me get a bottle of water. I'm over here sounding like T.S. I'm over here sounding like T.S. Madison. Hey, hey. Okay. All right. Y'all still in church today? Okay. All right. Let me see. Okay. So Mr. Howard's knowledge of the designer drugs was insufficient, and therefore he did not trust unknown substances at first when offered. Mr. Combs began to hit at Miss Ventura's insistence and indulgence, explaining she may be angry if he did not partake. Mr. Combs had never offered Mr. Howard drugs before this point, and the two had developed a mutual respect during the years of contact connected by Miss Ventura. Against his better judgment, Mr. Howard agreed to consume a small dosage, hoping it would satisfy the demand and end the matter for the night. Mr. Combs retreated to the master suite, and within minutes, Mr. Howard recalls becoming extremely warm before he began to sweat uncontrollably. He began to have violent spasms, which curled him over, forcing him to crawl into a nearby bathroom. At no time did either Miss Ventura or Mr. Combs exit the master suite. Once in the bedroom, see, you took your ass back. Why you kept going back? Now they got your ass hemmed up in the bed. You know what? See, y'all can't be this slow. But it's all for money. See, it sounds like a good story, right? But if you emotional like Tisa tell all them damn lies, you don't have the brain to ask the questions that I asked, right? And what do you have to say about Lionel Diddy, or like why you kept going back? Why is that question so hard to ask people? You know, um, so once in the bathroom, Mr. Howard began to vomit uncontrollably. The pain from his stomach was intense, and he could not stop the sweating no matter how much he wiped. The vomiting lasted several minutes until there was nothing left to regurgitate. Mr. Howard lay dizzy and weak on the bathroom floor for several minutes before he regained the strength to stand and approach the door. It was Mr. Combs who came upon the weakened and disoriented Mr. Howard first. Noticing the visible change, Mr. Combs inquired about Mr. Howard's condition. Mr. Howard recalls being afraid to confess his condition, but he began to feel so sick that he confessed his condition to Mr. Combs. Mr. Combs examined him briefly and agreed he did not look good. Mr. Combs turned to enter the master suite and asked Mr. Howard to wait. Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura exited the suite together. When Miss Ventura asked what was wrong, Mr. Howard informed her that what Mr. Combs had given him was responsible. Mr. Ventura asked Mr. Combs what he had given Mr. Howard, and Mr. Combs' response was the pink shit. When Mr. Howard replied that Mr. Combs told him it was Molly, it was Miss Ventura who informed him that the substance he had been given was not Molly. Mr. Howard was given around $1,500 and released. He managed to exit the hotel and walk over 40 city blocks in December conditions, sweating uncontrollably and afraid. Y'all believe this? Huh? He was picked up on the side block and taken home to recover. Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura coerced Mr. Howard into sex trafficking. Mr. Howard was flown by the special request of Ms. Ventura from New York City to Miami, Florida, and to Los Angeles, California, numerous times to entertain Ms. Ventura. Ms. Ventura would directly call Mr. Howard for encounters and on occasion threaten or pressure Mr. Howard to become available. The trafficking began shortly after Mr. Howard's victory over Daniel Phillip, the other male provider whom he was pitted against during a sex-a-thon, as later described by Ms. Ventura. As part of his reward, he began to receive perks like travel and small gifts given to him by Ms. Ventura. Mr. Howard would be contacted and asked if he was available to fly out to a location. In the beginning, it was exciting and flattering to experience such an attractive woman hungry for his attention. Over time, Mr. Howard became aware that this was much more than that. The first instance of trafficking occurred when Mr. Howard was flown to Miami from New York City after a call from Ms. Ventura. It was a lot of Miss Ventura in this. It was cold in New York City, and Miss Ventura's call on a freezing winter day seemed like a gift for Mr. Howard. A flight was booked using JetBlue, which Miss Ventura paid for, and Mr. Howard was off to Miami. Mr. Howard met the couple at the Madarian, a hotel property located in the Miami area. Mr. Howard checked into a suite under the name Frank Black, which was given to him by Miss Ventura during the ride from the airport to the property. During all instances of sex trafficking, Mr. Howard would be presented to hotel staff as security for bad boy records, Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs. Mr. Howard would spend days service, and Miss Ventura waited to be released so he could return home to his normal life. He kept going back, y'all. He was asked to come for one day, but he was not released until 3 days later. Mr. Howard was inconvenienced, but felt intimidated by the lifestyle of the couple, so he endured, hoping to be released sooner than he was. Do y'all hear that? Hoping to be released sooner than he was. Now, come on, now. Now you kept on going back, bro. Now, come on, now. I know Cassie is not a victim, but if we just talking about you for a little bit, bro, you went back too now. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Howard will be flown to Miami many times where he was induced into drug use, alcohol consumption, and prolonged unprotected sexual activity with Ms. Ventura. Ms. Ventura repeatedly stated to Mr. Howard how she hated condoms and they irritated her. It was for this reason she was reluctant to use condoms, as she would state they irritated her and created a smell. It was during an encounter at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Los Angeles when Ms. Ventura forced herself onto Mr. Howard during her menstrual cycle. As will be explained in a later paragraph, this was not an accident, but a calculated disregard for the plaintiff as punishment for refusing to comply with Ms. Ventura's command to fly into Los Angeles. Once Mr. Howard was under control of the defendants, he was given no means to return to his home state without satisfying Ms. Ventura. Wow. By use of coercion and fraud, Ms. Ventura would lure Mr. Howard to her with promise of gifts and favors to entice him. Defendants would use Mr. Howard for days as a sex slave, satisfying their own physical and psychological needs. Defendants lacked regard for health or safety of Mr. Howard, as is now known by the dozens of men revealed to be part of this massive deception created by the defendants. Ms. Ventura sexual assaults Mr. Howard in Los Angeles Beverly Hills Hotel. Wow, the defendant sex trafficked Mr. Howard to Los Angeles and arranged he be brought to them at the Beverly Hills Hotel. He went back again. Lord have mercy. Upon arrival, the plaintiff was instructed to wait, but feeling uncomfortable being in a new city in the middle of the night, the plaintiff decided to go outside. Within minutes, he was contacted by Mr. Combs, who instructed him to re-enter the hotel. He was told to inform the employee about that by the elevator that Mr. Howard worked for Mr. Combs and was expected. A hotel employee once told Mr. Howard was an employee of Mr. Combs and ushered Mr. Howard into the penthouse suites of the Beverly Hills Hotel. Mr. Howard entered the suite to an environment strangely different from past encounters. No candles were lighting the rooms as he had been accustomed during every encounter over the course of the years. Over the course of the years. Over the course of the years. Damn. Boy, if you can't tell he trying to get a couple of dollars. Ms. Ventura was angry with Mr. Howard. This anger originated from his decision to spend his anniversary with the own partner and not fly to Los Angeles that day at the invitation of Ms. Ventura. Through the use of manipulation and physical positioning, coupled with the pressure of the president, Mr. Combs, Ms. Ventura forced a sexual encounter upon Mr. Howard. She seduced him into complying with her, then removed his clothing. Once his clothing was removed, she manipulated him through foreplay into a compromised position on the sofa. Wow. Once on the sofa, she began kissing him, intended to arouse him into participating in sexual activity. Mr. Howard remembers things felt strange, so he repeatedly asked her to wait, but Ms. Ventura ignored him, pinning him with her waist and hips to the couch. What? Ms. Ventura took hold of Mr. Howard's penis and quickly inserted it into herself. The sensation overwhelmed Mr. Howard, causing difficulties when he tried to use his motor functions. You know what? Hold on. You know what? Kita said he just trying to get a few dollars. Listen. What? He was going to testify, but he said that the prosecution did not want him, the prosecution nor Cassie's attorneys wanted him to get up there on that stand because he would have been telling this stuff to the jury about Cassie and it wouldn't have looked good for her. Now, Cassie, Latoya said he didn't hold nothing back, Shell, and it was kind of out of the blue. He was arrested and he get his ass in the interrogation room spilling the beans on Diddy. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay. Miss Ventura finished quickly, and it was then that Mr. Howard was able to remove her and reach for a nearby light so that he could see what was going on. Mr. Howard discovered Miss Ventura was menstruating and it appeared heavy. Miss Ventura pretended to be surprised, but later revealed she was aware of her menstruation, but didn't think it would be heavy. Mr. Howard remembers becoming angry and asking why she would have done that to him. Mr. Ventura They've been missed. Ms. Ventura, drunk and visibly intoxicated, laughed and informed the plaintiff it wasn't a big deal. An argument ensued, which was cut short by Mr. Combs, who called Ms. Ventura into the bedroom after apologizing to Mr. Howard. They asked that he remain calm. When the defendant re-entered the room, Mr. Combs admitted that Ms. Ventura was aware but intoxicated and disregarded Mr. Howard's feelings. He provided him with substantial bills and asked him to go to the suite that he had been prepared for his stay within the hotel until the next later in the day. Ms. Ventura later apologized for how she had treated Mr. Howard, blaming intoxication and hormones due to her monthly cycle. Oh my gosh. Ms. Ventura will often order Mr. Howard to masturbate for her visual pleasure. Under the influence of substances, her requests would last hours without consideration for the well-being of Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard suffered injuries such as tears to the shaft of his penis, which eventually resulted in the skin peeling and scabbing. These injuries were the result of prolonged periods of self-directed masturbation at the order of Ms. Ventura, but you didn't have to go back. Mr. Howard contrasts STD from Ms. Ventura. Ms. Ventura's disregard for the health and safety of others while attempting to satisfy the sexual fetishes of her lover caused personal injury to Mr. Howard when he contracted an STD from her during an encounter where the two engaged in unprotected sex. Although Mr. Howard met Ms. Ventura as a male companion, he was STD free and rarely had unprotected sexual contact. While engaged in the coercion of Mr. Combs and Mr. Ventura, Ms. Ventura and Mr. Dang. Can y'all see this? Okay. Mr. Howard was in a committed monogamous relationship which had begun before he met Miss Ventura. Beside his partner, Miss Ventura was the only other sexual partner. Mr. Howard did not use condoms. During the time of contractions, Mr. Howard had been semi-retired as a male provider, with Miss Ventura being his last client before he exited completely. He was gainfully employed in a committed relationship with a partner, and he lived with them 7 days a week. Shortly after one encounter, Mr. Howard began to feel strange sensations when urinating. This quickly worsened, caused him to immediately consult a diagnostic center seeking to have his blood and urine tested. The results are returned with Mr. Howard having contracted chlamydia. Several weeks later, when Mr. Howard saw Ms. Ventura again, the STD came up in a conversation when Ms. Ventura revealed she had contracted it and politely advised Mr. Howard to get himself checked, also blaming the infidelity committed by Mr. Combs for her infection. The reckless conduct of the defendants jeopardized the health and well-being of Mr. Howard. Defendants' lifestyles and activities created the threat of substantial risk, which was minimized to Mr. Howard by the information the defendants withheld. Mr. Howard witnessed horrific acts of domestic violence against Ms. Ventura. Okay, I'm gonna skip through this because we already know this. Okay. In mid-December 2023, agents from the Department of Homeland Security investigation contacted Mr. Howard regarding his encounter with Mr. Combs and Ms. Ventura, requesting that he come in for an interview. Having no experience in law at the time, Mr. Howard contacted his local criminal attorney, who was also not an expert in federal criminal law. In response, the U.S. Attorney's Office provided counsel to advise and represent Mr. Howard during the interview for legal purposes. Mr. Howard spent the next year and a half as a cooperating government witness for the Southern District of New York. Mr. Howard provided airline payment receipts, boarding passes, dates, photos of hotels to the government. More importantly, Mr. Howard provided corroboration of illegal activities. Mr. Howard could corroborate a decade of legal activity beginning in 2009 and concluding in late 2019. During this time period, Mr. Howard witnessed assault against Ms. Ventura, drug use, and illegal activity in witness. Mr. Howard was additionally drugged by both Ms. Ventura and Mr. Combs on 2 separate occasions. Mr. Howard was the male provider who impregnated Ms. Ventura after an encounter in October 2013. Excuse me, I'm reading too fast. As the interview process progressed, Mr. Howard was asked for details as he recalled them. Prosecutor Maureen Comey assisted Mr. Howard in the method of recollection by instructing him during the interview to write down his memories as he recalled them, due to the length of time that had elapsed since the conclusion of the relationship. Okay. So anyways, he's just basically saying he was a cooperating witness in all of this, okay? So that's that. Okay. That's that right there. That's that. Okay. Now, there's also a video that he did. That we're going to play. Okay. It's from the Art of Dialogue on Twitter. Shout out to them. Okay. Here we go.
So good morning. I am Dave, the man who has just sued Cassie Ventura for damages involved in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. And I'm looking through social media and I see a lot of the women out there, particularly black women like myself, who choose to victim shame me and try to do everything they can to discredit me, because the truth is that the loss of the Sean Combs trial was a loss to the Me Too movement and to hating women like the women who are trying to insult me. So let me tell you something, you women out there who would like to insult me. This is my story. I was paid by Cassie Ventura for 8 years to be her male provider. I didn't have to be the best looking guy. I was the best in bed. And because I was the best in bed, guess what? I was given this Arrangement. I was coerced. I was drugged. I was manipulated with promises of money and gifts for over a period of 8 years to continue to be this woman's provider at her expense and at the expense of Diddy. Now, at the time, legally, I didn't know my rights as well as I do now. I didn't create this conflict with Cassandra Ventura. She created it with me. She's the one who decided to bring up things that happened over 10 to 15 years ago to hold Sean Combs accountable for what was a partial truth. She's the person who introduced me to the U.S. Attorney's Office. She's the person who told the U.S. Attorney's Office about our relationship. So in essence, those out there who want to hate on me, who want to say that I'm attacking Cassie, you should realize the truth, that Cassandra Ventura, your idol, did this to herself.
That's what I said. He a black woman? What?
She exposed herself to liability when she got on the stand and decided to mention me as the male escort who was with her when she overdosed and Diddy made her have sex with him. That was a lie, people. Cassie had just woke up from sleeping 8 hours. Myself and Sean Combs were exhausted. We wanted to go home. Cassie's the one who forced that sexual encounter. People, she tells you that Sean Combs made her have sex on her menstrual cycle. I can't speak for anyone else but myself. But I know the one time that did happen, that Sean Combs was not responsible for that Cassie, in a drunken, intoxicated, hormonally imbalanced state due to her period, manipulated and forced herself on me during her menstrual cycle. And what I mean by that is I had no knowledge she was on her menstrual cycle because the room was completely dark. She manipulated the room. She manipulated the environment to get what she wanted, and then she totally got up like I was the one who should have been grateful. You're on your period. That's disgusting, and I deserved more respect than that. As a man, if I had laid down with a woman and forced myself on her and orgasmed in her and she got up and it was leaking out of her, guess what? I would have raped her. So by statute, by case law definition, Cassandra Ventura sexually assaulted me. I'm not looking to destroy Cassie. I've given Cassie more than a year to settle this before things got out of control. The problem is she's being supported by women like you who would choose to attack male victims instead of accept the truth, which is that a woman could have lied to get revenge on the ex-boyfriend who broke her heart and hurt her. It happens, people. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and that's true. If you hurt some women, they will do everything in their power. If you hurt some men, they'll do everything in their power to hurt you. But I want to end this by saying this. Cassie did this to herself. They say he who sets out on the course of revenge should dig 2 graves. People, Cassie dug the grave that is Clayton Howard herself. Cassie got on the stand trying to destroy Diddy. She should have took her $20-30 million and walked into the sunset, people. She should have never gotten on the stand and created further liability for herself by telling more of the lie that she created to get this man sent to prison for his life. She made a mistake when she got on the stand, people. She made a mistake when she got on the stand and lied about the events with Clayton Howard. Clayton Howard is a victim of Cassandra Ventura. Clayton Howard didn't ask to be in a relationship with Cassandra Ventura while she was sleeping with numerous men per week. I get it. You all think I was a nasty male prostitute sleeping with women, all different women all the time. It actually didn't work like that. To have certain types of people that can pay you that well, what you really have to do is you have to focus on people who are affluent. And affluent people don't engage in activities like that. So I might have had a client once a month. The truth is I was only a male escort for 2 years. I continued in the profession because Cassie and Diddy continued to pay me very well. And I was an ex-con. I needed money. Yes, I was trapped in the situation. I'll admit that. I didn't know what to do. But does that mean I should be victim shamed because the same thing that happened to women all the time happened to me as a man? No. And for those women out there, for you black women who choose to shame me as a black man for telling my truth, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's probably pretty much all I have to say. You will not see me too much in the media. I don't need the public to believe me. I just need a jury of my peers and 12 people to believe me in the court. And thanks to the testimony of Cassie during the trial of Sean Combs, I have that. Thank you for watching. Stop victim shaming. Thank you.
Okay, y'all. All right. Pamela says you did this to yourself. You kept going back. You could have been stayed out. So you get what you get after the first time you knew. Hakeem says he should stay quiet. This could be used against him. Y'all, I was laughing at that comment. Um, no, she didn't really though. It might be in dark, but minister will have a smell. If it's only a bloody smell, you should have said, turn the lights on. Um, let me see. So, anyways, y'all, I just wanted to come up here just to kind of, break this lawsuit down for y'all, just to talk about what we already knew that Cassie Ventura is not a victim. A lot of Diddy hater reporters like Tisa Tell Lies and Cassie Ventura, and Nancy Grace, who not one day had anybody down there at the courthouse from crime for whatever her TV station, her YouTube, because she's a YouTuber too. Okay, but um, she not one day was down there. And I just want people to take accountability. You get what I'm saying? You can report on something without lying on somebody. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to claim that Cassie is a victim, then you also need to include the fact that she's also a predator. And let me ask y'all a question. Can someone be both a victim and a perpetrator? I want to put this question up here for y'all. I want to ask y'all this question. Let me put it up here. Can someone be both a victim and a perpetrator? Yeah, we don't do no victim shaming. We just call it like we see it. It's bull crap. Like, come on. Can someone be both a victim and a perpetrator? Tammy said, nope. Kirsten says, yes, it happens in abused children all the time. We're talking about grown people. Um, I mean, listen, I'm gonna say this. I understand that some of y'all are trying to make it seem like just because it happened to you that you can do it to somebody else, but that's not how it works. You got to take accountability. Like that's no excuse. You get what I'm saying? Because then you got to ask yourself, where was your family and where was the people at that knew about this? That because a lot of these families cover this stuff up, but where was your family that knew about this and didn't get you no help? Just like Dwayne Youngblood tried to say that because he claimed that he was abused and Jakes grabbed him and kissed him, that was an excuse or okay for him to abuse children. No, it's not. It's not an excuse. Now, if you are a child, if you are a child, okay, I get it. But being grown as consenting, willing adults, no, you're not a victim. You are a predator. Okay. So that's just where I stand with it. Um, Ebony still say yes, you can be both. Nicole says no. Finally, me Lulu says two things can be true at the same time. Emma says nope, not when you're an adult and know better. That's where I'm at with it. Jesus King, you can be a victim as a child, then grow into one. Um, she could have started as a victim and then became a perpetrator over time. And then even that, when you're a child and you grow into one, you still got to look at the facts. Are you telling the truth or are you lying? You get what I'm saying? Um, Prince Anwar Amir says, how the judge gonna not give him bail for the very thing he was found innocent on? Man, it's crazy, bro. And then they talking about, oh, it's the defense said he was a violent man. The defense said he was a violent man. Listen, y'all, let me tell you this. Even if Diddy go to jail for a long time, the man still got to come home. So when he come home, what are y'all gonna say? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think the judge considered his daughter's letter that he was their only parent. And I just feel like, bruh, we already know that this man was violent. Cassie knew this. She watched this man beat Kim Porter and she still ran to him. She was jealous. But at the end of the day, he still got to come home at some point. Y'all act like people gonna be in jail for life if they ain't got life. The man still got to come home at some point. So what the fuck y'all gonna do when he come home? What he gonna do when you come home? When he come home, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, whether he come home or stay in jail, this. Oh, I'm scared for my life. He still got to come home someday if he don't die in there, God forbid. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, dang, y'all act like he don't. That's just like if the judge gave him a year because that's what the sentencing chart says he get. The judge can't give him no more if that's what the sentencing chart says he get. So what y'all gonna do? You better get to figuring something out instead of laying around talking about, he gonna kill me, he gonna do this. You got $30 million to find you somewhere else to go. Like, come on. But you can't lie on a man, and then when justice comes down, you act afraid for your life because obviously the jury didn't see it the way y'all try to run it, you know. So, um, all right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you thumbs up the video on YouTube, on Facebook, give a good reaction, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And also, if you catch the replay, I have a question for you. Can someone, and we're talking about an adult, be both a victim and a perpetrator? Let me know what you think. YouTube, like, thumbs up, comment,